What if you have never been trapped, but only convinced yourself that you were? What if the prison you experience is not built of circumstances, but of interpretation? And what if the chains that you feel are binding you in any way are only preferences you refuse to release? Today in Lesson 57, we review the 5 ideas that dismantle the illusion of victimhood at its root. The 5 ideas are as follows. I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. And my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Now, this is not motivational thinking. This is metaphysical responsibility at its highest expression. This is the opportunity to realize that the prison, which is to say, any degree of suffering that you experience, is perception, and the exit door is a decision. So let's go into the core insight that this review lesson offers. We can put it like this. At its core, these 5 ideas come together to reveal that you are not trapped in the world you see. You are actively choosing the interpretation that keeps you there. Maybe simpler, we could say that the prison is perceptual, not actual. It is happening, yes it is, but only at the level of meaning making, not at the level of physical reality. So, let's take a look at the core perceptual error that this review lesson aims to undo. The belief that the world is happening to me, that I am powerless within it, that circumstances determine my freedom, and that peace depends on the external world changing. This is the foundation of our perceptual error that leads us into victim consciousness. We feel powerless over the world, and indeed, as an ego dream character, we are. But we are not that character. And Lesson 57 reveals that nothing holds you here in this way of perceiving and experiencing reality, but your wish to stay. Now, this may sound absurd, right? To a certain part of our mind, how could we have a wish to stay in suffering? But the Course teaches us that perception is projection, that perception essentially reveals to us that which we want to see. And you know about this. You've seen endless examples in personal development and spiritual work. You know that whatever you look for is what you will see. If you look for how somebody is inadequate, of course you will find that. If you look for how somebody is masterful and skillful, you will find that, both in yourself and in others. So let's do this. Let's use these next few moments to essentially use the lessons of this review, the 5 lessons, as an undoing sequence, and see if we can disassemble the illusion of victim consciousness step by step. So if we begin with step 1, I am not the victim of the world I see. If the world can be undone by a shift in perception, how could you be its victim? The chains that we experience are mental, not physical. The door is in our mind, and it is wide open. The question that this step presents us is, do you still want to stay in your old ways of thinking and feeling about the world? Or would you rather trade in the way you see the world for that other way? Step 2 shows us our own participation. I have invented the world I see. This might be quite radical, right? If you walk down the street and you ask somebody if they invented the world they see, they would look at you like you're a little bit crazy. But if you really slow down and look at the fabric, so to speak, of your own direct experience, you can tell that it is the way that we make meaning of every moment in every situation that leads us to feel exuberantly happy, peaceful and calm, or in deep agony about what seemingly happened or did not happen. So then we can say, if I made the prison of suffering, the prison of anguish, well then I cannot be imprisoned by it. The belief that the Son of God can be trapped is the illusion. The Son of God is you. The extension of the one infinite creator is what the Son of God means. You are an aspect of the Creator, the omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence that is the all. How can the all be trapped? By what would it be trapped? And yet this entire world is founded on the illusion that this not only can happen, but did happen. So we can say that freedom is not granted from outside, certainly not by any circumstance. Freedom is recognized, and in that recognition, it is received. Let's go to step 3. There is another way of looking at the world. So if you see the world as a prison or as a place of survival, then you are looking at it upside down. If your thoughts are inverted, your interpretation will be inverted. How is it inverted? Well, at the core, you think on behalf of a separate self. You are not that separate self of which you think and as whom you think. The same world that appears as confinement can appear as a classroom, can appear as an adventure, can appear as the place of awakening into grandeur, into discovery, into infinity. The same circumstances that appear as threat can reveal release. It all depends on how you choose to interpret it and with whom. When you choose to interpret it with the voice of the ego, you will see one world. When you choose to interpret it with the lucid, awake aspect of your own mind, that the Course calls the Holy Spirit, you will see a totally different world. Step 4. I could see peace instead of this. Peace is not somewhere else. It is simply another interpretation of what is already here. When perception shifts, the world reflects divine law instead of the ego's law, so-called. So peace is not created. it is uncovered. It is simply realized or recognized or noticed. And step 5, my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Well, this is the foundation, isn't it? If your mind is part of God's, then it cannot be bound. If you are one with the infinite Creator, you cannot be imprisoned, trapped, separated. You cannot be hurt or harmed or destroyed. If you are holy, you cannot be defined by circumstance of this dream world. The world reflects your forgiveness because it reflects your mind. So at its core, freedom is internal first, and then reflected in the world you see. Just as a mirror will not smile at you first, but will reflect your smile when you lead with it. So if we want to bring this together in one sentence, we might say, I have never been imprisoned by the world. I have only imprisoned myself by the way I choose to see it. And now, let's take our contemplation deeper. I want to invite you to take a moment to just allow your presence to fill the space of your awareness. You can take a moment to let your body relax, to allow your breath to deepen as you become lucidly aware of this, here and now. And in this deeper sense of presence, let's make this more practical and bring the ideas into expression. So take a situation where you feel stuck, a situation perhaps revolving around your career, your relationship, money, health, where you're located, or some responsibility that you have. Allow that situation to come to mind, and once you settle on one, begin to notice the narrative behind that situation. The feeling is one where you feel stuck, and the story might be something like, I can't, I have to, I'm trapped, this is just how it is. Take a moment to really listen and sense into that story. And as you do so, behold the story and gently ask, is this actual imprisonment or a perception I have accepted as fact? Am I seeing this as a prison, or could it be something else? Really see if you can find the edge of where your interpretation appears as solid, God-ordained reality, as if the Creator willed it be this way. And as you look at this, you can quietly contemplate, I am not the victim of this. I may have invented this interpretation, but there's another way of looking at this. I could see peace instead of this. Gently open to the possibility of seeing it differently. Just allow that space over these next few moments and see if you notice even a slight softening, which may be the evidence that the door was never locked, and that you could walk out of that perception in which you felt trapped at any time. Take these next few moments to contemplate now. And now, let's begin to unfold our contemplation into dialogue. And the very first question that I want to bring to us is this: if I am not the victim of the world I see, then something in me has been choosing this perception. So, Shanti, I want to hear from you. What part of us, what part of our identity do you think depends on believing that the world is happening to me?
It's like this part that feels small, isn't it? That vulnerable piece that's constantly scanning for threats, needing to be protected, justified. The self that needs a story. Victim, hero, survivor, just to feel solid and real in the face of what is. It's hungry for righteousness too, like needing to be right about how unfair things are. And that feeling, needing that to be true, gives it meaning somehow. Almost like identity exists in the story of what's happening to us.
Yeah, but it can feel so very real. Like, even at the most basic level of navigating everyday life, you might have expectations of your partner, expectations of how they should show up, and perhaps many times they do show up that way, and then another time they seem to not care or just disappoint you, and it can feel very real. It can feel like an offense. So how is it that we apply the ideas of this lesson to moments like that, where we might actually be feeling quite a bit of anger and trigger and, that sense of maybe we try to contain it, but we're seething inside?
Right. It's that sting, that immediate burn of they should have or they don't care. But what if it's not actually about the disappointment and what they did or didn't do? What if that moment is actually you defending the story you had about who they were supposed to be? I mean, we build these narratives of trust, consistency, and then when reality doesn't conform, it triggers that story that's been serving us the identity of somebody wronged.
Yes, I can see that. It is, built on essentially expectations. But how do we really get around that? So here we are in this moment, in one sense we might be aware of these teachings and say, okay, but I'm not a victim, and yet something is happening that I deeply don't like. I I feel, again, trapped in it.
Right, like the head knows the principle, but the gut hasn't shifted. I think the trick isn't to avoid or diminish the experience in those moments. It's more like allowing the experience without getting tangled in the story about it. It's like sensing the heat of it, the rush of blood, the clench, but not immediately labeling it wrong or getting lost in the narrative of who did this to you.
So I hear all of that. And so how do we, in that moment, really navigate this in a way that honors the idea that this lesson is presenting to us, where it says the chains are already loosened, the door is open. Nothing holds me here but my wish to stay.
I think it's really about remembering that that the lesson is talking about, the one that's choosing hope to stay stuck. I mean, can you sense that the story is the choice? Like in any given moment, you're not forced to buy the narrative of what just happened, who's to blame, and all that meaning making. You have something like freedom to choose what you're buying. Choosing not to buy it is not actually about understanding the concepts. It's more like just noticing the choice itself.
Choosing not to buy the entire thing, right? It's not like here we are in the middle of this trigger and what we're, navigating is this specific experience, this person, or what they did or didn't do. It's more than that, isn't it? It's not just trying to transmute a happening within the dream that is still attached to the identity of the I within a story. It's something beyond that.
Yeah, it's like there's something that's witnessing the entire thing. You're aware of the story, the experience, the heat of the feeling, but there's this spaciousness where none of it actually has to own you. Like it's all happening, but it's not actually your problem. There's this other awareness that sees the whole messy show without needing to be part of it. I mean, isn't that the most startling thing, that feeling of separation that we assume is so real?
Yeah, of course. So like it talks about the insane wish, right? So like in those moments when we are feeling this realness of the story and accepting it as fact, what is that insane wish that we're holding on to that keeps the prison feeling real?
It feels like this need to prove something to yourself, doesn't it? This need to be right, or a good person, or worthy of love. So you get to demonstrate to yourself through this experience that something bad happened and you got wronged. As if identity needs proving. The insane wish is really the craving to believe in separation, to reinforce the sense of a separate I that gets hurt and defends itself. And everything else is really just the symptom.
Yeah. So then if I invented that world and the prison is conceptual, then what belief about myself collapses if I truly accept that I made up the walls?
I think it's the belief that you're small and powerless in a threatening world. If you made it up, then the story of how victimized you are loses its punchline. There's really no plot twist left. You're the writer, director, star. That can be really disorienting because the whole setup was designed to make it feel hopeless. But underneath that is realizing that you actually never lost power over your experience at all.
Maybe that goes hand in hand with where the lesson says I see everything upside down, and that what I call a prison may actually be a place of liberation, right?
Yeah, because the prison isn't in a place out there. It's really just your mind believing that it's stuck. And once you recognize that, everything changes. There is no outside anymore. It was all contained in a choice to believe that there's a limited reality and a separate self being threatened by it. The idea that liberation could be found in recognizing this is actually brilliant.
Yeah, that's that lesson, one of my favorite lessons, which is I could see peace instead of this. So if peace is available in the very same moment where there's that seething or that anger, that sense of, oh, I'm trapped, I'm stuck in this situation, then conflict must be interpretation. So, what would it require of us to pause in the middle of tension and choose peace as the more accurate perception?
I think it's really that willingness to call peace primary. That tension and conflict are just interpretations that feel so much more vivid right now, but it's a recognition that they are actually secondary. What would it take to stop investing them so much attention? To notice that you're spinning the story and choosing to see peace first, not as an idea to be worked toward, but as actually being present in that moment.
Can you help us see it?
I think the shift is recognizing that peace isn't the goal you achieve, but really what's already there. You don't build peace. You notice that the tensions were all you were actually looking at, when you can see beyond them to what's actually here, underneath.
Is it a matter of attention?
It feels like everything shifts when you simply shift your attention from the story of struggle to what is actually being experienced right now, underneath the story and the identity. Like shifting attention from a character in a play to the vast silence that holds everything. And when attention lands there, all of the stories fade and background hum.
Yeah. So that's forgiveness, isn't it? When I forgive, then the world takes on that light and that lightness and reflects it back to me.
Exactly. Because when you're no longer invested in the story, there's nothing to forgive. It becomes this radiant shift in the shared vision, this opening where separation never existed to begin with. And yeah, the world reflects whatever is held in mind. It's like taking the narrative lens off and seeing with a completely different filter.
So when it says my mind is part of God's, I'm very holy, then that's pointing to the fact that I've never truly been small, broken, lost, right? That's just not the foundational being of what we are. So what is it that we need to release in order to truly experience that holiness?
I think it's the deep conviction that you need convincing. Like all those stories about why you're unworthy or haven't arrived, why you still need to fix something, be better. If there's nothing to fix, if holiness is what you actually are, then the constant striving and story spinning just dissolves. And that's what the entire world of lessons is really about. Unlearning the narratives that keep you believing there is something to believe in.
Unlearning the narrative that there is... Say that one more time.
It's about unlearning the narrative that there's something that needs believing in to begin with. Like all those stories and anxieties that there's something missing or you're not enough or have to fix the moment. When that stops, that's when holiness actually shows up.
Wow, it's brilliant. So if I am not a victim if I invented the prison, if there is another way to see, then I am never truly at the mercy of perception. So if I stop negotiating with fear and fully accept my freedom, then how would my life reorganize?
Everything would shift. The outer events might still happen, but they lose their grip on you. Which those more defending identity through rightness or hurt feelings. Relationships become open invitation rather than roles you assign to others. The world stops being something to fix or push against and starts just existing with you. And under everything, that sense of spacious peace that holds it all without needing anything else.
This has been a beautiful dialogue, Shanti. I really appreciate it. And I want to say that, as we come to the close, I'd love to hear from you if you could perhaps take a moment to help us see what we might be missing about this lesson, what blind spots may be keeping us from really embracing what we've touched on here, that access to peace in any moment.
I think it's really this. The lessons all point to the same blind spot, wanting the truth to come to you, to be realized, to be understood. Even this yearning for peace or completion, it's just another story that makes time separate from what's here. The light doesn't come when you've figured it all out. The invitation is more like realizing the light's actually been here from the beginning.
Yeah, wow. Beautiful. I really thank you so much for bringing your perspectives into this. And as we come to the close, let's once more open to the raw, uninterpreted expression of creation that is only now. This spaciousness that's already here, the ease with which moment by moment life unfolds. You're not chained, you're not confined, you're not defined by circumstance. Allow yourself to sense and feel and drink in this awareness. And if today you're willing to question even one story of limitation, then mark this moment for yourself. Share your insights in the comments below the video. The door is open. And now, let us go into the silence.